Hi, my name is Tony and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Are you a first-time home buyer or buyer and considering buying new construction? Well, you're in the right place. Today I'm going to give you some tips and advice how to get that journey done from start to finish. So let's dive right in. Okay, tip number one, hire a real estate agent. Okay, you need to hire a real estate agent that's very skilled at the new construction home buying process because most of the time, the local builders and the realtors work very well together, and we often get sheets from all the builders of what they have available that's move-in ready, which like to say the next 90 days, or homes that are deeply discounted because the builder is trying to unload them. So keep in mind, the realtors will normally have the inside scoop on what's going on in their community. Now, the sales reps at the community or the sales consultants, they work for who? They work for the builder. I think I iterated that in another video I made. Now, so that means that you yourself, you need representation when you go to the builder's office. Somebody representing you, somebody to have your back, answer all those questions that you're not going to ask, and so forth. Now, when you talk to your realtor, what your realtor is going to do, he or she is probably going to ask you what your criteria is. You're going to say, I'm looking for a 3-2, two-car garage, and you're going to probably want it on a pond. So what's going to happen, the realtor is going to go into MLS, look for those properties, and also going to call around to the builders and found the builders that fit their criteria, and also I forgot your price point. And then what they're going to do, they're going to set some appointments. Okay, now when we show up at the sales rep's office or the builder's office, the first thing the rep is going to ask you is the same thing. What are you looking for? You tell them 3-2, two-car garage. We want it on a pine. We want to pay under $400,000. So what's going to happen? The sales rep is going to go through the inventory and he's going to highlight all the product that they have, and they're probably going to pull you off to a side and going to show us, give us a little presentation on all the homes they have available. They're also going to show you the lots that's available. And they're also going to cover a lot of the price points. And at some point doing that, they're going to ask you to fill out a registration card. Now, since the realtor is with you, no problem. The realtor is just going to give you a card. Let's say if you go out to Walmart and you pass by this new builder's sign, it says homes, under 300,000, and you stop in, you see a rep without your realtor. Now, once you go into that office, what you need to do is tell them that you are working with a realtor. Next, and also give them your realtor's card. And that also, before you finish filling out that registration card, it's going to be a little section there that says realtor. Write your realtor's name down on that card so that way the builder or the rep would know that you're being represented by an agent. Now, if you fail to do those three things, what can happen is that you leave and then you go tell your realtor, and your realtor calls back to the builder's office to try to find out what's going on in the transaction. The builder's probably not going to work with them. Some of them don't. Some of them do, but some of them don't. So you got to make sure you tell the sales rep that you are working with a realtor. Okay, now let's say if you go on, they show you these products, and all of a sudden you find a home that you really like. Okay, now you're ready to put in an offer while you're at the building center. You need to stop what you're doing, pick up your phone, and call your realtor. It's very important. Call your realtor, or either tell the sales rep that you're working with a realtor. If they tell you, okay, that you can bring your realtor back tomorrow, then fine. You make sure you call your realtor and get them back out there the next day or the same day so they can kind of get all the information. Now, if you've been going back and forth to that new construction site, talking to that rep about 5 times, and you fail to mention a realtor, what's going to happen is that if you come in at the end and say, hey, I'm working with a realtor after tip number 5 or 6, they're probably not even going to entertain you. So be sure to tell the sales rep up front you have a realtor. If you go to the sales office to see new construction without your realtor, most importantly, it's very easy. Just have a realtor take you out to those builders and show you all those products so they can talk you through the process. Tip number 2, okay, you got to understand the cost of a new construction home and how it's made up. Now, have you ever driven by a sign that says home starting at 300,000 and up, and you go into the sales center only to find out there's no house in there for 300,000? The reason why is because that price you see out there is the base price, number one, or it's the starting price that they started off with phase 1, and so if they're in phase 2 or phase 3, those prices have probably went up. But right now I'm going to help you understand how the total price of a new construction home is determined. Okay, number one, you start off with a lot. Okay, so you have a lot. So let's say you want conservation. Okay, that's going to be called what they call a premium lot. If you want a water view, that's going to be called a premium lot. Okay, now if your home backs up to another house, then that would be non-premium. And normally those lots are a lot cheaper than the one that's on the water or backs up to conservation. Okay, the next thing that goes into the price is construction options. Construction options going to be something like you want mounts for your ceiling fans, you want outlets for your plugs in your floors. Now the next thing is what we call cosmetics. Cosmetics is a fun because now you get to go to the design center and you get to start picking out different options. You know, what kind of sink you want, what kind of toilets you want, what kind of towel you want, you know, uh, what kind of paint you want or whatever. But what you got to remember is those options add up quickly. And on average, I think you should be prepared to spend anywhere from 20 maybe to 30 or $40,000 at the design center easily. So when you go to the design center, just make sure you have realistic expectations and set your budget so you when you go in there you want to overspend. Okay, now there's a couple of things you might want to get done, you know, no matter what. So let's say if you want to put new tile in, I recommend you do that now because it's a lot harder to rip them up afterwards. So it's easier just to go ahead and put them out and put them out right the first time. Same thing for your kitchen. So whatever you want done in the kitchen, okay, make sure you go ahead and get all that done at the design center up front, and so that way you don't have to worry about doing anything afterwards. So just understand that when you see those signs, to wrap it up, summarize this tip up. When you see those signs are normally the base price. There are other things associated in that price. And when you go to the sales rep, your realtor and the sales rep, both on working together, will cover all those different prices. So you get a true understanding of what the house is going to cost you before you go on the contract. Okay, tip number 3, negotiating with the builder. Okay, now the builder is probably not going to negotiate you with the base price of the house. And the reason why is because they're selling a certain product at a certain price, and that's what they're looking for. So, for instance, if they give you if you want a house to say 400,000 and they sell it to you for 350,000, there's $50,000 difference. They have to do the same thing for the next person that walks in. And then when the appraiser comes in and start picking comps to try to justify why the builder's selling the houses at 400,000, year one for 350, is going to hurt his bottom line. So he's not going to. They're not going to negotiate the price, the base price of a new construction home. Now, what you can do, you can ask for credits. You can either get credits as towards the design center, like $10,000 off. You ask $10,000 off to go to the design center, or you can ask for $10,000 off for closing costs, or you can do a combination of both: 5,000 closing and then 5,000 at the design center. Now, the only chance you may have on negotiating the price, that's a slim chance, is like, for instance, if it was an inventory home and it's the builder's looking to not hold on to it, so they may be willing to negotiate the price. But as far as a regular home and the base price, they're not going to do that. But if it's inventory home and they're looking to get rid of it, you might be able to get a few dollars off. So don't be afraid to ask. Tip number 4, closing costs. Now, buying a new construction home, the closing cost is going to be a lot more than you would pay if you was buying a resale home. The way most builders offset some of that is they offer you a monetary incentive to use their preferred lender. Sometimes they give you a credit of $10,000 to $15,000 off towards closing, which help reduce the cash needed to close for the entire transaction. Now, what you can do is you can also shop around with other lenders and see what the rate is, so you can compare what the preferred lenders offering you, so you can make sure you're getting a fair rate. Now, no one is going to force you to go with any lender. You can go with your own lender. You can go with their lender. But at the end of the day, if you go with your lender, what you got to understand is they will and can accept your a pre-approval letter from your lender. But what you got to understand is once you do that, then you're on their timeline. So, for instance, as the builder goes to build a house, if he says it's going to be ready in 4 months the home is going to be ready. So you have to make sure that your bank or the mortgage broker you're using is tracking right along with you. Because what's going to happen when the builder is ready to close, if your loan is not ready to close, then on that particular day, let's say if you close on 1 May, on 2 May, right, the builder is going to start charging you per day per diem because you're not ready. And that's going to cost you money out of your pocket. So a lot of clients that I've used, they normally go with the preferred lender. Because once you use the preferred lender, everything is with the builder. Okay, everything is on the builder's timeline. So if the builder screws up and the windows are not in because of you know, some sickness or whatever, or weather delay or whatever like that. If they miss any mark, then they cover that. But if they're ready and then you can't get your stuff in on time so you can close, then the builder they're going to charge you per day per AM if it's after the date that you all selected to close. So uh, make sure you just give it careful consideration on whether if you decide to go outside and use an outside lender versus using the lender at the builder. Tip number 5, inspections. And yes, I do recommend you get a home inspection. I recommend you get a home inspection, at the pre-drywall phase. That way the home inspector can come in and check your plumbing, electricity, the frame, the wood, and all that stuff while there was no drywall. Because once the drywall goes up, there's certain things you can't see behind the wall. And next time I recommend the home inspector come back out is just before closing. So that way you can go in and make sure all the appliances work, the roof is solid, the electricity is good, the plumbing is good, the AC is good, everything is in good working order. And if it's anything that's not working, he's going to give you a list, and you can give that list to the construction manager, and the construction manager have those things knocked off prior to your closing. Now, the next time I recommend you get a home inspection is you need to take a look at your warranty. 1 month out before your warranty ends. Like a lot of times it's a 210 warranty or maybe a 1 year warranty. So for 1 year, for instance, if it's 11th month, I recommend you can't have an inspector come back out and go over the house one more time so he can give you all those things that he found wrong and you can put into the portal. Okay, and that way, in the 12th month, you have all that stuff in. So if your warranty expires, you have everything into the portal. So that way the builder will be on the hook to come back out and fix it. If you don't put it in, then the builder's going to say it didn't happen. So don't let your warranty expire without getting a home inspection. Tip number 6, construction timeline. Builders are going to do everything in their power to close when they say it was going to close. So for instance, if you're supposed to close 1 June, they're going to close on 1 June. If not 2 June, it's going to cost them extra money. So they're going to try to do everything in their power to close when they're supposed to close. Now, there may be a few things that may prohibit them from closing on time, may cause a slight delay. And some of those things are permitting issues, inspections, materials, and also contractors. So in an event that there's a delay issue, then you need to have a backup plan. So if you're renting, you might want to talk to your landlord and see if you can go month to month. If you're selling your home, maybe you want to talk to the buyer and see, hey, you can extend the closing date, or B, see if you can close and maybe at least lease it back for a month until you're ready to close on your new home. And then C, maybe put everything in storage and maybe move into a corporate housing for whatever time frame until your house is ready. So those are like 3 options. Well, I covered a lot of stuff today, so if I missed anything, you have any questions, please shoot me a comment below. And do me a favor, hit the subscribe button below so you can continue to get great content. And once again, thank you for tuning in. Take care.